Hello, my name is Arthur, and in the last video we'd left off making our test strip for the south-facing direction and putting it into Godot. So let's have a look at our character. I've taken all of the images out and the test strip is right here. Our character is a kinematic body, a sprite, a collision shape, and an animation player. So our test strip currently is one direction tall, so it's one frame tall and 9 frames wide. So we'll enter those values into the V frames and H frames and throw our strip into the texture. And the character appears and he's in the idle position because the frame number is 0. So from here we can make the idle animation. So we get our animation player. Let's add an animation. So new animation. We'll call it idle, which is the character state underscore south, because that's the direction the animation is facing. So we'll go OK. An animation will appear that's 1 second long. And we'll select the sprite because that's what we're animating. To do our animations is the sprite sheet. So all we have to do is key in frame 0, the idle position, create that, and there's our idle animation. The frame automatically went to the next frame when we added this because it's looking to make an animation, and the 1 frame animation is a little bit questionable, and perhaps an idle animation that actually has some movement in it is a better choice, because currently my script will keep playing the idle animation, which is 1 frame of animation, and that's not really worth playing repeatedly. So for the length of the animation as it stands, I'm going to make it very, very short. So I'm going to make it decimal 0.1. That's just enough animation to flip the image, and perhaps I'll change the nature of my idle animation so he has some kind of like a board movement for just standing there, or some type of animation to go with the idle. But for now we're just going to do the simple one and call that done. So the next thing to make is the walk south animation. So we'll create a new animation. At this point the player's state is walk and his direction is south. So we'll go walk underscore south. OK. We'll create that animation. Now when we're making an animation, in adding the frames and experimenting with our timing, we want to make sure we have ample time for the animation to begin with, and we'll set the time to the length of the animation later. So if you have 10 animations and you're thinking of making each frame show more than 0.1 seconds, then increase the time here, and we'll decrease it later. That way the play bar is able to advance correctly. Now what we're going to do is we're going to speed up the animation from 0.1 per frame, and we're going to shorten that to 0.9 per frame. And that'll get the animation playing just a little bit slower. We'll turn off snap to do that. So the frame has returned to 0. So we want to observe that. We get it to frame 1. We have frame 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we want to key in 8 frames. To start off, just key in the first frame to create. What happens is the play bar doesn't advance by that amount of time, so we need to tell the play bar to go 0.09. We'll just click next to it. Whoops, I accidentally clicked play there. So let's do that again, 0.09. And this one, for some reason, it won't let me click anywhere but somewhere on this bar. So we don't want to press play, and it keeps doing that. It's a little bit annoying. This one aspect of Godot, it should let me click somewhere other than directly on the bar. But it forces me to click onto this thing somewhere to get this time to engage. Okay, so we have the first frame and the amount of time entered. So we're going to advance to the next frame. We'll key that in, and now the time will advance and the frame will advance each time we click. So we need to enter 2 through 8. So we'll do second frame, third, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's the 8 frames of the animation, and we have a time. Length of the animation is 0.72. So we'll enter 0.72 in the animation length, and that one will allow me to click anywhere. And that's more or less how you set up your walk animation. We set it to loop, and we can just play that to see what we got. That has reasonable timing. If you're not happy with the timing, I would suggest to start the process all over again. You can go into edit and scale the animation, but the way the math works on that can get confusing, because if you're trying to scale it faster and slower, it can get a little confusing, and I rather just erase an animation and play with the timing here. Just make sure you have ample time here and go through the process correctly, and you'll end up with a smooth animation, and you'll know exactly the amount of time that each frame is displaying. So let's just save that. We can stop the animation now and have a look in the script. Geez, I don't recall if I've shown the script at all. Most of my scripting is learned from tutorials. I'm not the person to teach people how to script in Godot. So I'll make sure that the script is on the screen long enough that a person can pause and even copy the entire script if you want to type it out, or just get an idea for how it works if you have enough scripting to be able to do that. Basically what it's doing is we have global variables for the animation state and the animation direction. I start them at idle and south. Depending on the input, a vector 2 is given to direction, and I return direction at the point in physics process where I get input. So it's looking for a keypad, for a keystroke, or for me a D-pad. So it fills in direction and then sends that up to animation direction, uses the vector 2 to assign the animation direction. Then if the motion is not equal to 0, vector 2, 0, 0, the animation state will change to walk. Otherwise it will be idle. So anytime a key is being pressed, the animation state will become walk or idle. Then in the play animation function, it simply assembles the animation name. So we make a local variable that's constructed out of the animation state, which begins at idle, plus underscore, plus the animation direction, which starts at south. So it plays idle underscore south idle underscore south. So as long as this naming convention is followed, this will work presently for north, south, east, and west. You can see I've changed my directions here so that left and right are east and west, and up and down are north and south. Once all 8 directions are added, this will just basically double in size. It won't change get input at all. And about the only drawback of this current setup is that it's going to repeatedly play the idle animation. And I've been thinking about how to sort that out, but I'm not really sure on that. So hopefully that's enough to be able to get your character animated and be able to make the images and the sprite sheet for all 8 directions. So we'll just have a look. If I go in any direction other than south, Godot is going to start throwing errors, and those errors will keep being thrown because it's playing the idle animation. See, it's just racking up the errors here. And it's an animation not found because it's constructing the name of an animation that doesn't exist yet. But this is our walk cycle. Looks fairly good. The timing could probably be better and could use some refinement, and we can play with the speed in the script, or we can play with the speed of the animation. But I'm reasonably satisfied that this is a successful demonstration, and I hope it's enough to be able to get people started on making their own character content as well. That's been the aim so far in this series of videos, is to be able to make things in Godot that are completely original. So all of these are pieces that I've made. That's sort of how I've been going about Godot, is to try to make all original content, not have to download assets packs and make my own. So I'll probably come back in another video with another asset to add to this scene, and my walls corrected because these walls were just quickies with no shading added. So we want to get back to having the shading added in properly for everything. Until then, take care.